Hello children. Now in this module today we are going to tackle something a bit difficult in the English language. It's called a clause. Now before I move ahead, let me ask you, can anyone tell me what is a clause and what does it do? Anyone? Well, we tried. So let me explain it to you. A clause is a group of words containing a subject and a verb. For example, I ate a pizza. Here, I is a subject and ate is a verb, and thus it is a clause. Now, how do you distinguish a clause from a phrase? A phrase is a group of two or more words expressing a single meaning, but it may not form a complete, complex sentence. For example, on the table, for a while, etc. Now, there are two classes of clauses, the main clause and the subordinate clause. A main clause can work as a sentence independently, whereas a subordinate clause cannot work as a sentence independently and is dependent on another clause. For example, I was reading a newspaper when the bell rang. Now here, I was reading a newspaper is an independent or a main clause. But when the bell rang is a subordinate clause as it can't stand alone in meaning and is dependent on the main clause for its complete meaning. Now, subordinate clauses can be divided into three parts: the noun clause, the adverb clause, and the adjective or relative clause. Let's learn about them in detail. Noun clause. A noun clause works as a noun. Mostly it is the object of a verb, but it can also work as a subject. For example, you can do whatever you want. Object of do in this case. Whoever gets a prize treats us with an ice cream. That's the subject here. He didn't realize that he was wrong is the object. Note, the two most common noun clauses in English are the that clauses and the WH clauses. Moving on to the next one, the adverb clause. Like an adverb, it adds to the meaning of a verb, an adjective or an adverb. For example, the train had left before we reached, or she is smarter than I perceived. Moving on to the adjective clause or the relative clause. Like an adjective clause modifies a noun or a pronoun. The adjective clause is introduced by who, which, that, whom, and when, where, and why. For example, men who are patriotic follow the rules. I have a friend who is respected by one and all. Now, thing to remember here is, to know what kind of a subordinate clause it is, one must ask this question: whether it is doing the job of a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. Now let's learn a little more about the adverb clauses. There are 9 kinds of adverb clauses: clauses of time, place, purpose, result, reason, condition, manner, comparison, and concession. We will focus on clauses of time and clauses of conditions. Clauses of time answer the question when, and these clauses begin with after, before, as soon as long as, till, until, when, while, whenever, since. For example, you may play cricket when you have finished your work. Here, when you have finished your work is indicating the time when you may play cricket. He called me as soon as he came to know about the news. Moving to the clause of condition. Here it is introduced by if, whether, unless, or as. For example, people have to follow rules whether they like it or not. I will get you a smartphone if you score good marks in your exams. I know this module is a little tough, I know this structure is a little difficult, but with a lot of practice, you can master it. Thank you so much for watching this module. I hope you practice it well, and I'll see you in the next session. Let's summarize the clause again. A group of words containing a subject and a verb is called a clause. A phrase is a group of two or more words expressing a single meaning, but it may not form a complete sentence. To watch the next video, please attempt the following questions.